Hello, in this session I'm going to show you how to use target diagram briefly. So target diagram draws concentric circles and allows you to position shapes within those circles based upon data that you've brought in from external sources. First of all, you need to be able to select a page size, and depending on how many objects or shapes you want to put onto the circle, you may need to be larger, or if there's only a few, smaller. I'm going to guess at about an A3 size here. It allows you to select the number of rings. It defaults to 3, but you can go up to 6. I'm actually going to use 5 rings. As you notice, when I up the number of rings, it upped the details here. On the right hand side, these are the rings colours. It tries to default based upon a set of colours. You can change those if you choose to want to use some other colours as well to be different. On the left hand side, it gives you some adjustments around the size of the circle and also the positioning of shapes and the gaps effectively that you can have on the circles as well. It also down the bottom here I think also allows you a shape offset from the circle edge as well. So that's some of the things you can play with, and you might want to depending on the size of the icons that you're choosing. Once you've set up that base, you can then add select the shape and the associated data from your record sets that you've brought in down the bottom here. So I'm going to choose communication diagram. I'm going to choose an icon. I'm going to choose the application one. You need to then select what record set you want to use for this. Obviously I'm going to use the application one here, so I've selected the application set. It's now going to ask you what is the column which holds the data that's going to be used to position each one of those applications on the concentric circles and which circle it appears in. I'm going to use some health metrics of the applications that we've set up as dummy data here. Here it's basically looked and scanned that column and said, okay, there are 5 unique values effectively that is held in there. So I'm basically going to associate each one of those to the appropriate circle from 1 to 5, worst being in the center and red, I think, so that logically makes sense. Okay. You can actually also color code the shape. Now I will do this, but I also warn you that it colors in the whole shape, so if there was any detail in the shape that you had, you'll maybe lose that detail. So what it allows you to do, and I use the example of selecting application type, is it said, okay, I've got some different application types here. I've got an infrastructure business middleware effectively, and again it's giving you some different color codings, but you can choose to change those colors as well to go with that. So you now not only can you position it on the diagram, you can also color code the individual shapes that appear on that. So that I've said OK to that. That's brought in that line item. I can add in some more. I can select different shapes to use and different data, so I can have multiple things on the same diagram at the same time if I chose to. But I'm just going to leave this for this overview as it is. Okay, now press the button and it's going to draw the diagram. Now as you see, the diagram is larger than the page size. I probably underestimated the size of the page, and probably the size of the diagram was that it's drawn is probably larger from the data, and that's where you can start to fiddle with the radius of those shapes that you may need effectively and make them smaller. So I could have reduced the radius of this one and consequently brought those in, and therefore it would have padded the shapes more around the shape than the overall target shape than it did. It's created a legend for both the color coding of the shape as well as with the positioning of that, and you might just want to drag that out, but that's just useful, and you might want to edit it because it does put some tags in there for uniqueness. Also with the shapes, it's brought in the data that's associated with that from the record set, and indeed when you hover over it, it should show the description as well. That's it for this overview on target diagram. Thank you for your time.